briefly through it because, in a way, a lot of the topics that I was covering or will cover actually were discussed yesterday by a number of speakers. The keynote speaker dealt with it quite excellently, actually. And we also had been done by Ms. Jackson and Dr. Harrison dealt with it. So, in a sense, and Mr. Shanae dealt with it when they touched on, frameworks for the NSS. So, let me go on now to deal with the economic statistics framework. It's not working. Okay, go. Okay, all right. Yes, my presentation will just give you a brief introduction on the topic. I'll talk about the system itself, the common features of the economic statistics, the linkages that are among the economic statistics systems. I just briefly will touch on data quality standards because that was dealt with yesterday in some depth. And then areas for development. I was a bit concerned. It really is areas for issues for consideration under the NSS, and also new areas of development that has taken place that one has to consider for the economic statistics program. Introduction. Yes. Okay. Oh, he's drunk. Okay, good. Relevance and purpose, really. And basically, as I say, one broad purpose was to serve the decision makers and market participants for timely and transparent data. It in fact provides a framework for analyzing and evaluating the performance of an economy. It also is a framework for planning, formulation, and monitoring implementation of economic and budgetary policy. Sorry. Okay. No. It's just jumping outside. Can you go back down? Go back down. All right. One more. Okay. So there's a framework for the economic statistics that exists. And really, the history for that is that I think the Great Depression of the 30s, World War II, saw the development of macroeconomic theory, and which in turn stimulated the whole statistical framework, the system of national accounts, because basically they want the understanding of what really is happening in our economy, what was happening, and that sort of spurred the development of this area. Also policy, people wanting to create policy also drove the creation of what is called the system of national accounts, and that was the main body of economic statistics that sort of was the focus of, and has been the focus of the day. The national account in turn has in fact now even improved on policy. So in effect, the SNA has guided the development for these areas. International has guided development of accurate, complete, and coherent system of economic statistics. The process to develop a system of national account has been lengthy because we had a predecessor to what is called the 1993 SNA, which is 1968. We have a 1993 SNA, and we now have an updated 2008. And what has resulted is a body of economic statistics that are, as far as practicable, mutually consistent, and there is harmonization among these statistical systems. So So you have, in fact, these statistics that are being guided by international guidelines and best practices. So in the case of Jamaica, the Program of Economic Statistics has actually adopted international accepted methodologies, guidelines, and best practices. Now, as I said, we now have standards for preparing economic statistics, and these were actually revised based on when the 1993 SNA came into being. And there's even more revision, the 2008, and there's even further revision being looked at on some of the economic statistics data. What is SNA? Basically, it's an accounting framework. And basically, it presents the operational economy in much the same way as business accounts does. As I said before, the whole system is based on international agreed concepts, definitions, classifications, and accounting rules. And therefore, it provides a conceptual framework for ensuring the consistency of concepts, definitions, and classification that are used in the different related fields of statistics. It harmonizes, in fact, the system of national accounting 93 SNA harmonizes the national accounts, other international standards, for example, the ILO, International Monetary Fund, Balance of Payments Manual, the 5th edition. Right now there's a 6th edition now in place. So what we have in place now is a set of, for the system of economic statistics, two main ones that I can identify. What you will call the Macroeconomic Accounts Statistics, and we have four main ones. National accounts, which is undertaken by STATIN. You have the balance of payments, the monetary and financial statistics, which is the responsibility in Jamaica. The responsibility for that is the Bank of Jamaica. And you have the government finance statistics. That is the responsibility of the Ministry of Finance and Public Service. So those are the three main macroeconomic account statistics that exist. Now there's the other economic statistics, and we have quite a range of it. You have the price indices, you have the export and import price and volume indices, you have the production indices, you have the international merchandise trade statistics, agricultural statistics. I put here labor statistics because it both has an economic and social aspect to it. In terms of labor statistics, you can think in terms of economic aspect, the wages, the employment and earnings aspect of it.
Go back.
If you notice also in terms of the price indices, you can look at it in the perspective of the producer prices, consumer price indices. Again, you're looking at each of them themselves, how they're applied to specific economic analysis. But one important factor of these is that all these statistics are inputs into the system of national accounts. And therefore, the need for having consistency throughout the system of economic statistics. So, in terms of looking at the macroeconomic accounts now, these four main systems were designed to share common features. So there are major harmonization that took place in a number of areas. Next slide, please. So I'll just deal with the common features. So they're in fact accepted and utilize the same concepts and definition as related to your institutional units and sectors. The concept and the definition that defines residence within a domestic economy is the same. The whole area of stocks and assets and liabilities, economic flows, and therefore when you look at the accounts, they all are integrated in the sense that there are a set of sequence of accounts that are looking at different areas of your economy or your activities that relates to your economy. And what you have in that integration is that the balance in the item of each account will flow as an opening item in the next set of accounts. So this is the case in terms of when you look at the balance of payments. This is the case of when you look at the national accounts. Because in the sense of the national accounts, you're looking at activities as it relates to your production, your consumption, your income, and investment activities. And you therefore have accounts that deal with these aspects. And each item and each account, as I say, are linked to another. If you think about your business sector, you would say that his balance, an item in there is his profit. In our national accounts, we call it operating surplus. So this item will be the first item that enters his income account, because from its production, he will earn income. His next set accounts would be looking at his income that comes out of the whole production process. And that's the first item that will be entered into his production income account. And the income account will look at what you use your income for. And then basically, if you in fact don't use all of it to pay off your loans or whatever, then what you're looking at is savings. And that now is what will enter now into your item, which would contribute to your investment account, which looks at what you have accumulated investment and how you have used that investment. So this is the whole idea, is that the accounts within the system are integrated, and this holds for all the other accounts in the macroeconomic framework. The accounting rules, they use the same accounting rules, they use the same market price valuation. So I'm just giving you, in fact, the linkages that can take place. This is just an example that exists in the system about macroeconomic accounts. For instance, we have what is called in the system of national accounts, the rest of the world accounts, which looks at all the transactions the economy, in a case like Jamaica, has with the rest of the world. So you have a set of accounts that examines that. Now that is the identical coverage to the balance of payments account. The only difference in that is that the balance of payments account is from the viewpoint of the reporting economy in case of Jamaica, whereas our rest of the world account is from the viewpoint of the rest of the world. So in an example for that I would take is that if you look at the imports of the rest of the world, it should equal to the exports of Jamaica on the balance of payments. Okay, in addition, with other linkages, you will have consistency of concepts, definitions, and classification that are used in the different related fields. And for instance, the 93 SNA adopts the concept of employee as put forward by the ILO. So for instance, the estimates of compensation of employee in the SNA relates to the same concept as employee in the labor force. So this is why, for instance, the data that is provided to Productivity Center to do their productivity, labor productivity, can be used, why you can combine the employee data from labor force